Hi again guys, I'm back with another unboxing from ZQ from my latest order, which arrived very quickly. So this is just obviously a whole pile of stickers, which is a bit daunting, and what looks like a couple of cube bags, which is always nice. I don't really use them, but it's nice that they stick some free gifts in there with the order. So I've got a nice kind of brown one and a bright red one go to my collection. So ZQ often put these things in with their orders, so quite normal. I think that's probably a packing slip, I don't know. Never seen one of those before, the ZC on it. Yep, that's the packing slip. And 3 packets of stickers. Excellent. Oh well. So the next actual puzzle out of the box is this one. Now hopefully you've seen my last unboxing, which was the Venus version of the Bermudaminx. This is yet another one in that series. I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to end up buying the entire series of these, because the first one, the Jupiter, I just absolutely loved, and I've seen other people talking about on Facebook and stuff. One in particular, Pete the Geek, and he's absolute fanatic about the series as well. He's got the Jupiter and Mercury ones, I believe, and he absolutely loves them as well. So I'm not alone in that, and they are excellent puzzles. So yeah, this is the Neptune version. Now I don't know whether I might have messed up buying this one as yet, because this strikes me with the way the faces are as being an exceptionally difficult one out of the series, because what you've got is, yeah, you've got 4 special faces, a parallelogram and a trapezoid next to each other, and on the other side the same situation, parallelogram and trapezoid next to each other. Now they're the ones that make the solving difficult, but obviously I need to study it more. But I think this one's going to be hard, because without going into too much detail, the way I solved the Jupiter one was to leave the pole till last that had the least number of these faces on them, but there's no way to get this, I don't think, where there's less than 2 around there, so it's going to find it hard to do your algorithms, I think. So once again, I'll go away and sticker this, and I'll get back to you and show you in more detail what it actually is once I've done that. Hi again, back with the stickered puzzle now, obviously. Looks a lot better, obviously. This is the Neptune version still, of course. Now, as I was saying earlier, I think there's a good chance that this is going to be a very difficult puzzle. In fact, I think it might possibly be, well, that's not very well stickered, is it? There's plenty of spare ones, so I'll sort that out later. Yeah, I do struggle with stickering accurately sometimes, unfortunately. But yeah, the reason why I think this is going to be especially challenging is on the Jupiter one, I made a situation where when I was solving the final layer, I only had 1 special face to work with, so that made my final algorithms a bit easier to handle. But with this one, you've got 2 special faces on opposite edges of the cube. So I've got the pink and yellow there, and the purple and darker yellow there, and the opposite ends of the cube. So there's no position I can put this cube where I've only got 1 of these special faces next to my final layer face. I'm always going to have 2, whether they're next to each other or on opposite sides, like they say if I was using the green as final face, I'm going to have pink there and yellow there. So I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do my final layer algorithms. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least to find that this was actually the most difficult Bermuda Megaminx. But I'm fairly confident that it is going to be a lot more difficult than the Jupiter one, so perhaps might have been better off going for some other of this series before this one, but oh well, we'll see how it goes. So once again, this turns very well. I haven't lubed it or anything. It hasn't really been much breaking in yet either, so it's still a little bit stiff at the moment. And the Jupiter one, even after the solve, which was equivalent to a few solves with all the cock-ups I made, was still slightly stiff at the end of it, but not very bad or anything, but it's just enough to be slightly noticeable. but I think that's a feature of the series. I don't think you're going to get away from that, to be honest, unless you really take the whole thing apart and lube it, you know, with some Traxxas or something with the core and all the pieces. I don't know. I've never done that with a puddle yet, and I doubt I'm going to start now, to be honest. As long as I can turn the puddle without any real difficulty, I'm generally happy enough with its performance, so I don't really worry about stuff like that unless it's turning really badly. Now this one's a bit more challenging to scramble actually. There's a lot of blocking going on, so it's clearly going to require lots of setup moves to unsolve. Oh, good grief. Yeah, when you're struggling to scramble a puddle, you know you're going to have some problems ahead. I find that with bandage puddles, the ones that are difficult to scramble, you just know are going to be difficult to solve as well. Yeah, that's something you find sometimes as well. If the side's not lined up properly, it doesn't want to turn. It makes you think that something's not lined up, so you end up searching around the face to find the face that needs to twist to set it up and allow the face you're interested in to turn. And you can't find one. You wonder what's going on for a second, and then you line everything up, and suddenly it turns absolutely fine. So I found that quite a bit when I was doing the Jupiter one. So you do have to make sure you get things lined up properly. They don't really do much in the way of corner cutting, I don't think. That's becoming pretty obvious because of that. But then, you know, this isn't meant to be a speed cube, so I doubt that anybody would concern themselves with that on these puzzles. Again, they're not horrendously difficult to turn or anything like that. Okay, we're getting close towards scrambled there, I think. Let's just a couple more that I can see that need splitting up from their immediate neighbours. Those two purple ones. That's that, and I think that's about it. I think I can call that scrambled now. I'll go away and attempt to solve this one. I'm not making any guarantees on this one, unfortunately, but I will come back and whether it's solved or not and give you my thoughts on the puzzle once I've had a play with it. So as you can see, I've now got the Neptune Bermudaminx solved again. This one was very challenging compared to the other two I've got. I would expect that this one, obviously I haven't actually timed myself, so I don't know exactly, but something in the region of about, I don't know, 8 to 9 hours, about double the length of time it probably took me to solve the Jupiter one. So it really took some work to solve this one. The difficulty is, right from the start you're getting so much bandaging because there's no way to separate it a layer that other than having to stop it from having at least two of these special bandaging faces adjacent to it. So that does make the bandaging very difficult. The quality of the puzzle is excellent. Like the others, it turns a little stiffly at times. So again, it might need lubing, but the quality of it feels great, and you don't have any real issues with turning, such as catching or popping or anything like that. But you do have to make sure things are lined up quite well. You don't really have much in the way of corner cutting on them, so you do have to be very careful. Well, not very careful, but you do have to be a little bit careful. If things won't turn, just have a look around and see if things are actually lined up. But yeah, as for solving, this one's definitely a challenge. Unless you're a very experienced solver, I don't recommend trying this puzzle without trying some earlier ones in the series first, because it's definitely a difficult puzzle, this one. At least it was for me. However, if you've solved the earlier ones in this, not the earlier ones, the easier ones in the series, then this is definitely a nice step up in difficulty compared to the two that I've shown you before, the Venus and the Jupiter. So that it's definitely a good challenge to add to what are already a fun series of puzzles if you've solved the other ones. So yeah, I definitely recommend it in that regard. So yeah, great puzzle. It will get solved a number of times, I'm sure. I'm really enjoying this series of puzzles. I suspect I'll probably end up owning the entire series because they really are a lot of fun. Just adding the difficulty level to the Megaminx series. I mean, you can solve them in quite similar ways to the Megaminx, but you really do have to use some kind of lateral thinking to figure out exactly how to apply what you know from the Megaminx. And it's kind of it's almost like a maze, figuring out which bits you can do at which time, sort of thing. You'll find you put some pieces in and then figure out that you actually can't keep them there. You have to remove them from the solved pieces, put some other pieces in, and then put those pieces back again, sort of thing. So you'll find that happens quite a lot, figuring out exactly what needs to go in what order. So yeah, as I said, very, very fun series of puzzles, highly recommended, but don't expect this one to be very easy, because it's definitely not. Alright then guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care now. Bye.